So let's talk The Bad Batch. It is coming out on May 4th, or May the Force be with you, or Star Wars Day, mainly known as Star Wars Day. I want to say that's my birthday, but it's just 3 days before. But anyway, Bad Batch is coming out May the 4th. That is pretty soon, so I just want to talk about it. So here are my final predictions. The Bad Batch, they aren't going to execute Order 66 because they're kind of like they're special clones. The inhibitor chip inside of them didn't really make it through the process completely. And Echo, while he was in hibernation or whatever, that his inhibitor chip got corrupted by the Separatists or the Techno Union. So we will not see the Bad Batch executing Order 66. I also think that the Bad Batch, maybe half of it is going to be during the Clone Wars, all throughout like their perspective, including things with Commander Cody, or missions with Commander Cody. And I've done lots of videos on the Bad Batch, and so I'll be playing through the highlights of them pretty soon. But I think it's just gonna be going through their perspective of the Clone Wars all the way up to Order 66, and they don't end up executing Order 66. So here is my Bad Batch, everything you need to know before watching it, or more like my predictions.
Ever since they made their first appearance on screen in season 7 of the Clone Wars in episode 1, we immediately fell in love with the Clone Force 99, or the Bad Batch, following up in 4 episodes. This team consists of irregulars, or so they call themselves. Wrecker, who is the team muscle due to genetic mutations, he's able to lift practically anything as heavy or even heavier than a Republic clone gunship. Tech, who looks completely different as all the other members do, but has a major increase in IQ for a regular clone, and is able to hack into the Separatist droid's army. Crosshair, with a very different and older look, and is the sniper of the team, with the eye of an eagle. And finally, Hunter, the team's leader, with enhanced senses, and is able to feel electromagnetic signals on the planet's surface. With this squadron of 4 in Season 7, they team up with Clone Captain Rex and Commander Cody, and are sent on a mission from General Kenobi and Skywalker to infiltrate one of the Trade Federation's bases. But earlier, Captain Rex feels that his dead friend Echo is still alive, forced to give the Trade Federation's knowledge about old strategies against the Separatists and Trade Federation. It is later revealed that the beloved and dead ARC Trooper Echo is still alive, with an electric pike with a hand and technology spread throughout his body to keep him alive. They take him back to the Republic base, and there the Bad Batch, as well as his best friend Captain Rex, convince him to join the Bad Batch, and how that would be the right path for him later throughout Clone Wars Season 7. The season is cut short to only 12 episodes, with so much more episodes that they could have filmed. We were all looking forward to we could see the Bad Batch story continue in the Clone Wars Season 7, and now finally Disney Plus has announced the new show The Bad Batch, as well as the Star Wars social media accounts. In this show, we will be seeing the events happening to the Bad Batch right before Order 66 and after as well. Dave Filoni has shared some info regarding the first deleted episodes of the Clone Wars episodes of the Bad Batch. After recruiting Echo on the Clone Force 99, the Bad Batch is sent to Kashyyyk to fight by Yoda's side.
So we were first taken to their shuttle arriving at Kamino, so this must mean that after Order 66, they arrive at Kamino to see what's going on. Either that, or they arrive at Kamino before Order 66, and Palpatine executes Order 66 while they're on Kamino, and this is just going to be a crazy series. I see Naboo, possibly the new villain, which I'm predicting turns into one of their allies, and multiple other planets that were adventured in the Clone Wars TV show. In one of the clips, we see the Bad Batch side-by-side clone troopers looking like they're at an assembly or ceremony. Then in this clip, we see the Bad Batch pull their guns and are getting attacked by other clones, so I think that Palpatine orders them to an assembly. Then they figure out what's going on and try to retreat. Of course, they are special. They are not regular. They're not regular clones. So Palpatine must have had a mistake, and the Kaminoans must have had a mistake, and because they were irregular, they didn't have an inhibitor chip inserted inside of them. We see new armor for Echo, which I am going to love, and once again, the person who I think will become their ally seems to be helping them, and it looks like there is a droid attack, and this series is really going to bring a lot more to Star Wars, and will be revealed a lot in this series. It feels a lot like the Clone Wars getting reintroduced to us all over again, which is pretty fun. When they're fighting the droids, as well as countless other scenes like Wrecker bonking the clones' heads together, looks like Kamino, so they'll definitely be making a return to Kamino, and in the first clip we also saw them arriving at Kamino, as well as the advanced droids. So what I'm seeing is that some droids weren't shut down, unless this takes place before Order 66, and the Bad Batch have to basically stay away from the New Empire and clones, but at the same time destroying droids that weren't shut down after Order 66. What this series is also doing, which I think is going to be what a majority of this show is going to be, is the Bad Batch's past during the Clone Wars and before Season 7. And near the end of the season of the Bad Batch series, we see Order 66. We've seen the fighting droids, which, like I said, could be droids that weren't shut off, but we've also seen multiple other scenes on Kamino, and we've seen them in the cafeteria, we've seen them in the battle simulator, Fives and Echoes and everyone else had to go through. We've also seen numerous battles, which will maybe be in the Bad Batch's eyes and what they went through during those battles, which we already saw in the Clone Wars TV show. We saw Tarkin talk to them, which means he's still on their side, and I think this might be from the simulation. And what I'm thinking will happen in this show is we'll see multiple events and wars that we've already seen in the Clone Wars, but in the Bad Batch's perspectives, and near the end we see Order 66. In the Clone Wars Season 7, we were introduced to the Clone Force 99, or the Bad Batch, and I was hoping for their story to continue in Season 7, but instead we got a Bad Batch show. In Season 7, not only were we introduced to the Bad Batch, but that Commander Cody and the Bad Batch has a past, meaning that they've gone on several missions together throughout the Clone Wars, and they know each other pretty well. The Bad Batch is known for their battle strategies, and quite reckless ones, might I add, going head-on an entire army of droids. And from the past, Commander Cody learned about these strategies from missions that he went on with them, and fighting with them. In Season 7, we only scratched the surface of Commander Cody and the Bad Batch's past, only going over how they used to work together or went on missions together. So I have reason to believe that in the Bad Batch show, it will go over their entire past. Now, how I think the Bad Batch show is basically going to go, just from the trailer, I think that for the majority of the first season, or if there's only one season, the majority of the show will be focused on the Bad Batch's perspective of the Clone Wars, and we'll see multiple different events that actually happened in the Clone Wars TV show, and reproduced and recreated into the Bad Batch's perspective, and what they went through during that event. They'll probably spread this throughout the majority of the show, like 15 episodes, and then we will see Order 66, since we did see Palpatine in the trailer talking to the assembled group of clones that have executed Order 66 and are a part of the Empire now. So, to what I was saying, that the majority of the show will be focused on the Bad Batch's point of view through certain events throughout the Clone Wars, and limited from 7 seasons to only 1, possibly 2. It will be 15 episodes around, which is my prediction. And this is where we will see Commander Cody and the Bad Batch meet, do missions together, and Cody will learn about how the Bad Batch does missions, and what I'm saying is that he'll learn about their reckless strategies. I also have another theory on what the Bad Batch's perspective may be of the Clone Wars. I think that after they meet Commander Cody, they will be basically back up after that. They will stay behind lines, and if the mission is ever in danger or the Republic needs their help in a battle, they will come as backup and use their reckless strategies. I think that this is what happened with multiple battles in the Clone Wars, where the Bad Batch had to stay behind lines and only fight if they are called for backup. And later in the Clone Wars, probably like halfway, they are sent to do other missions by themselves, as we saw in Season 7. So I'm basically saying that the Bad Batch will go over their past with Commander Cody, how they met, and the missions that they went on together. So just a quick recap, I'm going back all the way to when Ahsoka species, the Togruta, in the Clone Wars were captured by Zagirian slave owners. Obi-Wan and Anakin, as well as a few other characters, attempted to free them, and multiple events happened, but in the end, of course, they got the slaves to safety and freedom. Also, the slave base was destroyed, taking everyone down with it. This includes the Zygerian Prime Minister, Atai. Dooku ordered him to kill Anakin after he killed the Queen, and in the attempt was killed along with all the other Zygerians. But after the Bad Batch trailer was released, we revealed that Atai is back from the dead and will probably be the villain in one of the episode plots. So how we know this is Atai is crazy. Just a little heads up, after editing the video, I realized that this Zygerian in the Bad Batch trailer isn't actually Atai from the Clone Wars, but he is another Zygerian that did survive the explosion and the destruction of the Zygerian slave base. So don't mind any of the times that I reference Atai. I'm speaking of, and I'm talking about, a Zygerian that is not Tai, but he survived the destruction of the Zygerian base. In the Bad Batch sizzle reel, we see for a split second a skinny Zygerian fighting Hunter with no right eye and multiple scars. We can also see the weapon in his hand, which a Zygerian slave owner holds. We see practically every Zygerian with this weapon, including the Queen. So Atai must have been thought to be dead, but turns out he barely survived, and this is the last of the Zygerians. This would make sense that this is Atai because of the scars and no right eye. Since Atai did die, but he somehow survived, the scars would make sense, and this man in the Bad Batch trailer would perfectly meet the description of Atai. He's much skinnier than Atai in the Clone Wars, but that also makes sense after almost dying, and all those people dead on that planet with little food, no shelter. It would make sense that Atai slimmed down. So there's a small Easter egg, which could expand into something crazy. So Atai isn't dead, but he has multiple scars and a missing eye. I wouldn't think that he would be much of a big threat or the biggest threat in the show. I'd probably say Order 66 and Palpatine would be the biggest lead up in the show, or the biggest threat. And he would obviously just be the villain of a single episode like he was in the Clone Wars. It would be cool to see Hunter and him fight, and what they might do in the Bad Batch is revisit and introduce several characters that were in the Clone Wars, such as the slave owner Atai. So we actually saw Fennec Shand in the Bad Batch trailer for a slight second, and this was actually teenage Fennec Shand. So in this video, I'll be going over what I think Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm is trying to do with the character Fennec Shand in the Bad Batch trailer, and just in Star Wars and all. So during the Clone Wars, we can see that Fennec Shand was a teenager. This is the same exact armor that we see Fennec Shand with in The Mandalorian. This could possibly be just someone else with her helmet, but her clothes designs are the same exact as well. So this is Fennec Shand. It could be like her mother, because we can see she's like in her middle ages in The Mandalorian, and then The Mandalorian and the Clone Wars are about maybe 50 years apart, so it would actually make sense for Fennec Shand to be a teenager during the Clone Wars, and then she would be in her 50s, maybe 60s in The Mandalorian. So what I think Dave Filoni and Lucasfilm is trying to do with Fennec Shand is they're going all the way back into her past, how she got into bounty hunting, how she got into just a cold-hearted killer, her origin story, her background, all the way up to The Mandalorian. Not all the way up to The Mandalorian, but just kind of the origins in the Bad Batch during the Clone Wars. Maybe the Jedi killed her parents, possibly. That's a crazy theory. We could see that Fennec Shand, like several other Clone War characters, we could see that the Jedi killed
Fennec Shan's parents, and that would leave a hate for the Jedi. Boba Fett hated the Jedi as well in The Mandalorian, and he helped them out. And so I think it's possible that Fennec Shan could have hated the Jedi as well. But she helped him out because Boba Fett saved her life. So, yeah, we're gonna see Fennec Shan building an empire with Boba Fett in the Book of Boba Fett after The Mandalorian. Her character progression is going to be crazy. She went from a cold-hearted killer to like an actually nice, kind of a relatable character in The Mandalorian. And in the Clone Wars, we could see, as I was saying, her origin story and just what she went through. And so we could possibly see a Fennec Shan show. Most likely not, though. Most likely not. We're probably only going to see her in the Bad Batch and in the Book of Boba Fett, plus the Mandalorian, but that already happened. So the Book of Boba Fett and the Bad Batch, and they're just trying to go over her past and what she's been through, and how she became a cold-hearted killer. And then we'll definitely see a lot of stuff with Fennec Shan in the Book of Boba Fett, being Boba Fett's right hand in building his own empire. And he could possibly be the villain. His own empire could possibly be the villain for Mandalorian Season 3, but most likely not. So yeah, Fennec Shan, we're most likely going to see her backstory in the Bad Batch, and then just what she went through, and then in the Book of Boba Fett, obviously, we can see like a huge character progression, like what she went from like a scared little girl, the Jedi killed her parents, to like this cold-hearted killer. I would definitely want to see that. Make sure to subscribe for some crazy Star Wars theories. I hope this was helpful or informational to you guys. And remember to subscribe, because that would be really helpful. Please comment any video suggestions you have, and I will see you in the next Bad Batch video. May the Force be with you.